do some Dark Souls stuff, and that's a perfectly reasonable thing to expect. But the weather kind of had different plans. We actually got hit with a storm that was about 2 degrees short of a tornado, so he actually couldn't be here today. So I couldn't go through Dark Souls without him. I don't think that would have been good. So we're going to do something else because I feel I owe you something. And this was actually an idea I was going to go through with him, but, well, I've had this game for a whole day and a half at this point, and I still haven't played it, and it's pissing me off. So we're going to answer the age-old question, what the hell is new Gundam Breaker? Not Gundam Breaker 4, mind you, and that's kind of what freaks me out. Now, for the sake of journalistic integrity or whatever, I'm going to go in and just, full disclosure, tell you, I'm not going into this completely impartial. I'm going into this prepared to already hate this game. And I know what you're thinking, Fury, why are you doing that? That's just bad. And I agree, but there's something I read about this on the back of the box, which worries me. So let's just talk about this before we get into it. So, I'm a big fan of Gundam. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, which should be like 99% of you, seeing as I only have 2 Twitch followers, I talk about Gundam in like every episode because I love Gundam. I still fondly remember the first time I saw Gundam, sneaking out of bed, turning on the TV at very, very low volumes because it was past my bedtime, and watching Gundam Wing and falling in love with the Wing Gundam design, which to this day I still think is the best giant mech design ever. Shouts to Kunio Okawara, by the way. But I'm also quite a fan of this little obscure GameCube game called Gotcha Force. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you should know this, seeing as I have the monopoly on all Gotcha Force videos on YouTube. Seeing as I've made exactly 210 of them, and I've counted. Well, eventually they decided to make a Gundam game that used the Gotcha Force combat engine. The idea being that you'd recreate famous Gundam battles fighting a war in your mobile suit. And that's great! I didn't play the original one, Federation vs. Zeon. I'd love to someday, but I played the sequel, Gundam vs. Zeta Gundam, and that is by far one of my favorite PS2 games. But the thing about this is we stopped getting those games immediately after Gundam vs. Zeta Gundam until last year when we got Gundam Versus. And Gundam Versus was a shitball game, and more importantly is it was sort of the embodiment of everything wrong with Gundam Versus at the time after Gundam vs. Zeta. It stopped being a game about fighting a war in your mobile suit and turned it into a 2-on-2 fighting game. And that takes away everything I loved about it. And that's why I went to Gundam Breaker. It was basically what was the original Gundam Versus, and in turn Gotcha Force. It was fighting a war using your Gundam, or in this case Gunpla models, because you're not actually using Gundams, but that's great. I love that. As you can see, I've got Gundam Breaker 3 Break Edition right there, another game I did a what the hell video on. And this time, hopefully, I've actually got sound. I've not turned on my headphones for the console, so it should still be outputting sound. That's my mission goal here. But the important thing is that they screwed up Gundam Versus by turning it into a 2-on-2 fighting game. And on the back of the box, the place where the marketing team gives you the bullet points, the most impressive things about your game, it's advertising 3-on-3 battles. So I'm very, very hesitant about this game. And I'm worried that the fact that this isn't called Gundam Breaker 4 means I might not be getting the game I exactly want out of this. Now, what's weird about the North American version I'm playing, at least, is we're not even getting the best version of this game. Because, well, not only do I not have the limited edition with the clear Gundam Age 2 Magnum, which I've never understood the point of clear model kits, having built one, because clear plastic is basically like glass, it sucks to work with. But we don't have that, but Japan also got a second version, and they did that with Gundam Versus as well, in that it was a version that came with a huge list of extra soundtrack options from the actual shows. And while I don't have a personal love for a lot of Gundam music, there were some great tracks in Gundam, and the fact that we don't even get that option also makes me worried that we're getting the crap version. And I've heard that this game already has less usable characters than the previous iteration, and while Namco Bandai plans on... oh yeah, we can fight Super Fumina, hooray. But apparently they're planning on adding more Gunplas through the use of free DLC. But if this game is as bad as I'm kind of expecting it to be, well, first of all, I'm not going to be around for that, and second of all, there's no guarantee they'll even put that DLC out for North America at the very least. So there's a lot about this I'm worried about. Hopefully it's not as bad as I expect it to be. I'm just going to make a lot of noise with my desk while I wait, but at the very least, we're going to figure out what this is. I'm pressing any button. Oh yeah. And if you're playing any Namco Bandai Gundam game, you have to go through 10 minutes of signing your firstborn child away to them. And also admitting that if you make a YouTube video out of any of their games, they hold the rights to sue you. I should know this. I had to deal with that before. Enter name. Done. Kyosuke. Yes. That's very dangerously close to Kyo, Asano. No, thank you. Okay, so we're not using English dubbing. That might be for the best. It should be noted that right before I did this, I watched all of Memory of Eden again, so I'm going to make a bunch of like Super Pilot references because Asamu Asano was amazing. As is Wolf Eniakel. But, you know, people shit on Gundam Age a lot, but, you know, that whole second arc, despite it being the shortest of them, was excellent. And Memory of Eden highlights all of that. Cuts a few really good parts out, but still pretty damn good. But, we're gonna go break some Gunpla, which is, as someone who likes to build Gunpla, kind of a horrifying thought because, oh, that's like an extra $20 on someone's bill, simply because you're probably not living in Japan, and you probably can't afford to just replace the individual parts. You gotta buy the whole thing, and then you gotta pay stupid amounts of money for shipping. I don't care. Oh, credits to any girl who builds Gunpla. I don't have eyeballs. That's a problem. How should I build Gunpla and panel line it if I don't have eyes? I'm just gonna start skipping all this crap. I don't care. Yes. I just want to break some Gunplas. Begin mission. Oh good, we're using the good old Granddaddy RX-782. Okay, that's another thing I want to bitch about this game about, is I'm not seeing any sort of option to import saves, and Gundam Breaker 2, Gundam Breaker 3, 3-on-3 mission right there, I'm not encouraged about this, but Gundam Breaker 2 and Gundam Breaker 3, if you had save data from the previous iteration, you could bring your custom mobile suit from the previous one. Yeah, it was downgraded to the weakest version, and you had to recolor it manually, and those of you who've watched my Gundam Breaker 3 video know this, because I spent 20 minutes of that hour-long video doing that. But, you know, at least give me the option to have my, okay, yeah, I get it. I've been playing these games since the previous one, and the one before that. I've not, however, played the original. Boost and jump. Okay, so have they gotten flying down yet? Because that was really the only thing Gundam Breaker needed, was it needed flying. There we go. Square and triangle. I know, I've done this before. One of these is a heavy attack, one of these is a light attack. And usually if you hold down your R2, you can use a special shot, if you use my design, which had the Twin Buster Rifle. Although, Gundam Breaker 2 took away a thing that in Gundam Breaker, or Gundam Breaker 3 did, in that if you played with the Twin Buster Rifle, you could do a rolling shot in the air, and you could just do a charge shot on the ground, but you couldn't do that in Gundam Breaker 3, which was weird. Yes, I know about EX skills. Yeah, thank you. R1 square, yeah, I know. Okay, R circle. Part repair, that's a useful one. Uh-huh. You gonna give me something to fight, please? I very much like that. Approach the part to pick it up. Press the select with left. Okay. So you can change parts on the fly. That's interesting. Okay. That's fine. I can just... Yep. That was easy enough. I'm just gonna keep breaking things, because I'm a Gundam Breaker! Yeah, I'm gonna exchange parts. Yeah! Gundam head, because Zaku head. Oh, Tro achievement, who cares? Can I just break all of those with one shot? Oh, probably, but... Okay, so my friend is insane, got it. Destroy 15 units. Now, it should be noted that it might not be apparent on stream, but for whatever reason, it's not properly fitting my TV screen for some reason. And it was fine for everything before this, but everything's off screen. Ooh, beam saber. Can I get double beam sabers, please? I wanted to go all super pilot up in here, but I guess not. Phew. It feels like the environments, like the individual environments anyway, are a little bit bigger. That's kind of cool. And I like the idea that you can just pick up random parts. Ah, gym head. I'm just gonna... Ooh, Dom parts? I never was the biggest fan of Doms. They're just kind of chunky. That said, I've got a Dom prototype kit from the Origin I've been wanting to build for a while. But the only Xeon suit I've ever actually built was the Ifrit Custom, which, serendipitously, is actually in this game. And that I'm actually kind of excited about, because I love that. Oh god, a perfect grade Gundam. Okay. I can break a perfect grade and cost someone $500 or so because these things are stupid expensive. Which is why I've never built one. I would love to try and build a perfect grade. That new crazy lighting Exia looks awesome, but... And that's coming from someone who has very little interest in 00 kits, but... I mean, case in point, I bought an Exia kit just so I could have the weapon from it, so I could work on a custom. But I made my own thing from it. Ooh! I want that backpack. Okay, how do I drop parts? Yes, please! Now, let's see. Oh, come on. There we go. Yes, that's what I want. I do kind of like the idea of swapping parts on the go, though. That's kind of cool. Astran clear. Yeah. Okay. I don't care that much whether I got a good rank or not, but hey, here's some parts. Gun cannon. I do like those cannons. That's kind of nice. Yes. Let's confirm that, because confirmation means we can advance. Alright. Defeat mobile armors, perfect grades, or warships. Yes, that sounds fun. Aside from the amount of money I probably wasted on someone else's part, I'm going to skip this because I don't care about the story. I just want to break some Gundams. Skip. Well, so far we haven't been locked into a 3-on-3 mission, so, you know, so far I'm not completely hating this. Again, I'd wish I were piloting my solo wing Gundam, I wish I could carry over my save data. I wish I could have the expanded soundtrack that they decide to gut from the game unless you pay extra money and are in Japan. And this isn't the first time they've done that. I don't know why they do that. It's just such a weird choice. It's just, we're going to cut out all of the soundtrack that you might care to listen to. But let's see if we can find some cool parts. I will say, credit to where credit's due. On the front of the box, they do in fact show the Wing Gundam, so at least they're giving proper credit to the most beautifully designed mobile suit ever. But, oh, this is a 3-on-3 fight, great. Okay. Those blue legs on that guy, that looks vaguely like Ifrit custom legs. Collect parts with the cube recovery device to keep them from your enemy. Okay. Which of course you do. Loot parts and recover them. I think I can do this. I do like the scale of this environment. Can I turn off that auto lock on, please? No, it doesn't appear that we can turn off that lock on. I'm just gonna take... That is the Gyaradoga's head, I believe. But again, I'm not super familiar with machines like that. Oh, that's a cool combo. Now, I think the enemies can pick up the parts as well as part of this system, so it's a little weird. I don't want the Zaku 2 parts. I want things that are better than Zaku 2 parts. Alright. And those are shoulders from, I believe, the Gelgoog or the Galbaldi Beta. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna keep kicking your ass because I like those shoulders and those legs. A large Heat Hawk. Yeah, let's use a Heat Hawk. Why not? I just dropped... Ooh, Zaku Kick. Yes, please. Okay, I don't think... I think we're sort of parts locked in these missions. Again, I'm only half paying attention to the actual dialogue because there's Gundams to be breaking. Why would you do anything else? Oh no. Redeploy, redeploy, redeploy. I mean, it seems fun, but I don't know. I so far I'm still preferring Gundam Breaker 3 to it, but you know, there's lots of time to grow into this, as long as it's not mostly focusing on stuff like the 3-on-3 battles. Because screw that noise. And also, come on, should be able to take that lock on off. R3. There we go. Again, my controls that they're telling me at the bottom are not exactly on screen at the moment. I don't know why that is too, because every other game I've played, it's fitted properly to my actual display, so I don't know why it hasn't here. I'm just gonna take these. Ooh, that's the Zaku Bernie piloted, which is the most important Zaku of them all, because he was the best Zaku pilot. You can take your Char Aznables, but Bernie Wiseman, best Zaku pilot. He's the only Zaku pilot that ever took down a Gundam while piloting a Gundam, or a Zaku. Okay, now I gotta okay, come on, jump. I gotta say, there's like a lag to the controls. What's up with that? And that's the deposit box, I think. So I gotta go deposit items. Recover the high mobility test type. Okay. Now I gotta go to my box. Okay. I see. Okay. I would love to do that, but I gotta get rid of these parts first. This is an interesting concept. So then you just deposit. Do they deposit entirely? Yes, they do. Okay. Now where's that Johnny Ridden guy? I need to blow him up and make fun of him for not being Char. Or rather, because everyone thinks he's Char. Because that's the running joke. Ooh! Gym Striker. I like these Gym Striker beam forks. That's why I built a Gym Striker back in the day. And for what it's worth, it's one of the cooler gyms. Never been a big gym fan, but the Gym Striker, Gym Sniper 2, Gym Dominance, which is getting I think it's a P-Bandai kit, but it's getting a kit. That's pretty cool. Recover 3 parts. I can do that. I can recover lots of parts. I seem to be pretty good at it. When I pretend I actually understand what the story and plot and mechanics of this game are, because I'm still stuck in the past like a dinosaur. That's the Gundam Alex shield on that blue machine. It also appears to be featuring the ground gym legs. Can't immediately tell you what chest piece that is, though. New ability, Twin Beam Spear. Excited about that. Beam gun, that thing's useless. Huh. That's from a Zaku. Those are cool. I quite like that Zaku helmet. And that Twin Beam Fork. Which is only really good if you're fighting 2 vampires huddled really close together. But still, cool weapon. And as a bonus, in terms of intelligent design, you can slide the internals around a little bit and it turns into a scythe. Not as cool as, say, the Death Scythe, but still, it's a cool design. Yet another reason why the Gym Striker is such a cool machine. Also, the individual parts on it are just molded really cool. I gotta say, there's some like weird, not necessarily lag, but just weird performance freezes every now and then. It could be because I'm not playing on a hyper expensive PS4 Pro, but I don't know. It does seem to have some weird performance issues that the previous iteration didn't. That said, you know, it's playing more or less perfectly fine. And if that was a 3-on-3 battle, that's not too bad. I quite like the fact that they're throwing random objectives to you. It lags on the PS4 Pro as well, huh? Weird. Oh well, in the end, I guess I can still play Gundam Breaker 3 when this is done. That is the head of the S Gundam, I believe. I think. I quite like that head design. Seriously though, give me a mobile suit I care about to steal parts from. Or let me carry my save data from the previous iteration over like the other ones, damn it. Come on. I mean, it's such a small thing, but every other game did it, so it seems weird that you wouldn't be able to do it here. Oh goody. Head Vulcan. I want that head part of yours. And also maybe that Gelgoog shield, because it always reminded me of Proto Man. I gotta heal up. Not good. Alright. And that's how you blow that thing up. I'll just take that. Gonna unlock that so I can run around and actually collect stuff. I don't know why it reset to lock on though. Because honestly, that lock on camera, if you're not targeting things with a beam saber, it's more of a detriment than an asset. Okay, where's our little toy box? Here it is. Please don't kill me while I'm doing this. Please don't kill me while I'm doing this. Sweet. Okay, fine. I'm just gonna keep kicking your ass until you give me parts from your machine. But, man. It feels definitely inferior to the previous iteration. I gotta say that for sure. But there's just functional things that feel like they're missing from the previous iteration. There's frame rate issues. Case in point, thank you, game. And I mean, it just feels inferior to the previous iteration. And I think I can say that with full certainty because both the previous iteration and Gundam Breaker 2 were both on my Game of the Year lists. I mean, quite famously, Gundam Breaker 2 was my Game of the Year 2 years ago. And Gundam Breaker 3 was not as good as Gundam Breaker 2, I don't think, but... Man... This isn't horrible or anything, but it definitely feels unfinished and unpolished. Hey, Jesta. I always wanted to build a Jesta. It's such a cool design. Oh god. I don't have pants. I need my robot pants. Although, shoutouts to you if you can save the world without your robot pants. I can respect that. Yeah, there's some jank to these controls for sure. But honestly, as I said when I went into this, I was expecting basically them to have cocked it up as bad as they cocked up Gundam Versus. And thus far, it doesn't appear to have been cocked up that badly. It's more execution and just having it suit the hardware's limitations and stuff, because it just feels not quite properly implemented in terms of what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I bet it gets better out of the original Gundam, but you know, in the previous game, I started not using the original Gundam because I had a significantly better Gundam from the previous iteration I brought to this game. This game, I'm not allowed to do that. And I mean, if you have issues playing a Japanese game, well, go get the Chinese version that was entirely in English. You know, I did. It's amazing. But, yeah. I'll just say, I went into this expecting it to be not significantly worse than what I've gotten, but it's not exactly great. Ooh, Mark II parts. Mark II, that was a cool design. S Gundam chest. Yeah. But, I don't know. It could be a lot worse, but it could be significantly better too. So far it's not too bad though. But, at the same time, I'm just bitter about how bad this is comparatively to, say, Gundam Breaker 2 or Gundam Breaker 3, and the fact that they're marketing it as a new Gundam Breaker as opposed to Gundam Breaker 4, something just seems kinda, I don't know, skeevy about that. Like, they're definitely trying to make it something different than what the series already was, and the series doesn't need to be tweaked. They needed to add flying, they needed to add transforming into mobile armors, maybe, if you're a real big fan of Zeta, but for the most part, that's all they really needed. And the fact that they're not addressing the actual, you know, fundamental issues of what the original game kind of was lacking in terms of, if nothing else, how the universe was built around it in terms of, you know, Gundam mythos, well, outside of that, it really didn't need much, and this doesn't appear to be addressing, like, any of that. But it's functional, and seeing as this was a game I was prepared to hate out of the gate, it's not too bad. I'm not sure I would pay the exorbitant sum of money I spent to buy this game and say it's worth that, but it's could have been a lot worse. I mean, I'm the kind of guy who went out and spent $100 on the Chinese Gundam Breaker 3 Special Edition that had all the DLC and stuff. That was worth that money to me. Still wasn't as good as Gundam Breaker 2, and I don't care much for the G-Self. Thank you, G-Self face, but you know, it's not horrible, and if this is really what we're getting, it's better than what they had for, you know, Gundam Versus, which was just an atrocity. Seriously, screw Gundam Versus. But the fact that they're not even giving us the best version of this game, that just kind of comes across as skeevy to me, you know? Ooh, I want that. Yes, I want the Jesta backpack. And now I want to kick your ass. Nothing else, give me your shield. Yeah. Alright, well, I'm going to collect some more parts. Hey, that's from the, one of the many suits from Gundam Age that the villains used that I can't remember that weren't the Legolas or the Giraga, because they all looked the same in that series. Yeah, I can see. I could see that, but I don't know. At the same time, I'm not the kind of person who plays with other people, and it doesn't help that I'm not paying for PS Plus, so PvP or PvE is kind of my go-to. I've always said that as kind of why I don't talk about multiplayer in terms of my reviews. Is I think a good game can stand on single-player content alone simply by virtue of everything, no matter how bad or good, is better when you play it with someone. I mean, case in point, a few weeks ago I played Heavy Nova with Caleb, and that game is the worst game I've ever played. It was fun to watch him suck at it, but this is not as good as Gundam Breaker 3. But I think if they put in some work, they definitely could make this a lot better. That said, I haven't gotten very far in this game, but at least with Gundam Breaker 3, any individual part you wanted out of the jump, like even if it wasn't in the mobile suit you brought over from the previous iteration, you could just search mobile suits made by other players and fight computer versions of that to get those parts. So if there was anything in particular you wanted, just like test out or whatever, you could just do that with no real issues. Whereas this one, I'm kind of at the mercy of, I assume, either random number generation or just how this level setup is sort of, well, set up. Because if these are what we're going to run into every time we play these levels, there's no reason for me to play these levels again, because I don't want any of these machines. Ooh, except for maybe the Mark II, because the Mark II is a good design. But you know, I want Wing Gundam, because that's my favorite Gundam. I've yet to see one of those, though. I want original Death Scythe, which I still doubt is in here because everyone's got such a boner for Endless Waltz, which you are weird to do that. Ooh, H2. It's the H2 Magnum. Don't care. And you know why I don't care? Because I'm a super pilot. Not you, Mr. H2 with funnels, because that is not accurate. Asamu Asano could not use funnels because he was not an X-rounder. Get it straight, what's your name? From Build Divers. Oh, I'm about to ruin someone's day if I blow that up, because that is quite famously the most expensive high grade you can ever get. The Dendrobium Stamen. Never liked the Dendrobium, or that's the Dendrobium Orcus, rather. Never liked the Stamen much. It had like a weird monobrow design that I never cared much for. And the giant mobile armor just looks overpowered. I never liked crazy overpowered mobile suits. I think that's kind of why Gundam Seed never really appealed to me. Whereas, ironically, I quite like the Twin Buster Rifle of the Wing Zero, even though I don't care much for the Wing Zero itself. Like, it's just overpowered enough to not be stupid. Whereas, you know, the Dendrobium or anything Kiriyamato ever piloted that wasn't the Strike was just dumb. But, you know, it needs better performance optimization for sure, but it's not horrible. That said, if you can get Gundam Breaker 3 for cheap nowadays, especially like the English version from China, I would recommend you get that instead because it's a better game. Or hell, get Gundam Breaker 2 on the PS3. That way you can actually play with people without having to spend an extra, like, what is it, $20 a month for PS Plus? Which I fundamentally refuse to do. I just will not buy PS Plus. And it's just out of virtue of the fact that it feels like a bad video rental service with, like, online multiplayer on the side, and it's like, I don't like online multiplayer, or multiplayer in general. And if I'm gonna get, like, free games for subscribing to your overpriced service, I want to, at the very least, keep the games. As opposed to, you know, like, lose them immediately once my, subscription lapses. Oh god, I'm pantsless. Give me legs! Why do I keep getting arms? I need legs. That's glowy and blue and therefore important. Oh god. Come on. Wow, getting around things is clumsy in this game. Pants. Is that the Trickeros Kai? That, in fact, is. I'm gonna get rid of that, and I'm gonna get that. And let's put this bad boy away. I hope I get to keep them if I hadn't put them away. Man, the enemy selection is a little lacking. I'm sure it opens up as you go, but again, Gundam Breaker 3, you could go after any individual thing just by searching for it. You could get some really hard missions in Gundam Breaker 2 early on that gave you some crazy powerful stuff. Gaffran, do I get to keep the Trickeros Kai? I don't think I do. Hey, I like that gun. I don't think I do because it wasn't something I deposited. That kind of sucks. But, you know, you learn as you go, and that's the important thing. Yeah, I'm really hoping there's a few more game modes other than what exists right now, because I said this from the start, I liked how this was basically Gundam versus beforehand, rather than what Gundam versus has become, which just focused on 2-on-2 fighting. I prefer literally Gacha Force with Gundams, because, you know, I love Gundam, I love Gacha Force. That sounds like the greatest combination of things ever next to RPGs and Panzer Dragoons. And unlike RPG Panzer Dragoon, I can actually afford to play this. Alright. That's not a tip, that's backstory I don't care to learn. Just let me break the Gundams! That's what I'm here for. Well, that and I can't play Dark Souls this week. As I quite like that head. Give it to me. I want to say that chest is from the V2, but I'm not entirely sure because I'm not super big on V Gundam. Oh, I like that shield too. That wing shield is also one of the nicest ones. Oh, the XS Gundam. The Gundam that's so big you need to stand, or else it falls over and breaks all of its many hundreds of dollars worth of parts. That'd be a fun one to put together. It would also be a giant waste of time and effort, and probably a lot of modeling skills I don't have yet. Yeah. I mean, functionally it seems okay, but it definitely seems kind of one note. And it could be a lot better. Like, Gundam Breaker 3 at least had more variants up to this point. Although I will complain about Gundam Breaker 3 as well, because, I mean, that game was a giant cock tease with its SD Gundams. I mean, I didn't care much for the SD Gundams, but at least, you know, it had them. Should have been able to use them. Also, what is with everyone's attraction to the Gundam Barbatos? Seriously, I've said this in both of my Game of the Year lists, in both videos that contain Gundam. I don't care if your game has the Barbatos. It was a stupid design. If you're going to give me an IBO design, give me the freaking Grimgard, because that was at least a cool design. Or the Vidar, or even the Bile, or the Shiden, or anything else. I don't care about the Barbatos. I don't know, maybe that's the unpopular opinion, but I'm also the guy who doesn't care much for the freedom. But I don't know, this game, I could see them improving it over time, but if they're gonna do that, they could just as easily lose a lot of people who are early adopters. Oh good, endless waltz machines. Damn you, Hajime Katoki, and your terrible, terrible endless waltz designs. You ruined the beautiful Wing Gundam. And you turned it into horrible, ugly Wing Zero Custom. I don't care if you designed the Stark Jagan. That one model lets you get a free pass for anything not including Endless Waltz, because that is just unforgivable. Those stupid feathers. Screw that nonsense. Oh, the Nobel Gundam. I don't want to blow up the Nobel Gundam. I liked Alan B. I'll just pretend she's crazy or something. Fetch me my Gundam, Rain. It's been forever since I've seen Mobile Fighter G. I should watch that again. Maybe when I'm done Gundam X. Because I just got into Gundam X for the first time, and I think I went into that with completely the wrong initial thoughts on it, because, you know, it got canceled, and it got canceled like halfway through its development, I think, or something like that. So, you know, I went into it figuring, you know, it's gotta suck, because, you know, no one wanted it to continue. But honestly, I'm really liking Gundam X. I like that Garad Ran guy. I like the I can't think of her name right now, but the sort of villain mercenary lady that's kind of always on his case because he turned her down, which I totally think he should have ended up with her. I think they could have taken the story in a really interesting direction if they'd done that. All that said, I've never cared much for the Verzago design, or the other one, the Azutron. Not good designs. But it's better than anything else Bendy designed. Gundam X, it's good. I mean, I'm only like halfway through it, but seriously, that should have gone a lot further than it did. Beam Fan! I own one of these. The only reason I own it is because I wanted to build the Hexa. So I built the Hexa because I like the Hexa, but I have a Beam Fan. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing with. I've always wanted to build the Master Grade Gundam X. That is a really cool design, but it's always out of stock no matter what online retailer I go to, except eBay, which you're going to be paying like 3 times the cost, which, no, I'm not. Seeing as I've just lost my job, and this is literally now my job, no. Also, you know, go support my Patreon so that I can maybe someday build the Gundam X and continue to make videos on YouTube for you wonderful people out there. Hey, I blew up a mobile armor. That was the Obsolus. I think the Obsolus was kind of underutilized. I mean, it showed up all the time in the 8th MS team, but literally every iteration of it was like a different version of it. They never really stuck to any one design. And I really think they kind of should have for a while. Because honestly, the Obsolus is a neat mobile suit that they really should have done more with. I mean, I get they had to kind of completely change it when they scrapped it and it ended up like in the mountains with Shiro and his completely destroyed ground Gundam, but still. Also 8th MS team, that should have gone on a lot longer than it did. Because that was a fantastic series. That's locked. Now it's not locked. I don't know why it was locked to begin with, but okay. Maybe it would be explained to me if I didn't skip the story, but I'm going to be doing that because I genuinely do not care. Still, you know, it could be a lot worse. I went into this expecting it to be horrible. At the very least, it's better than I thought just because it's throwing constantly, like, different mini objectives at you. That's kind of a cool concept. That said, we've been in this same environment since the start, which has almost been, holy crap, an hour ago. But, I don't know. Also, again, all they really needed to add was more Gunpla, maybe make it bigger, so bigger maps, okay, sure, I'll concede that one. Actually get flight down, because we still haven't done that yet, apparently. And, transformation, I guess, if you're really into Zeta machines. But they really didn't need to do anything that they've done thus far, and I don't think it really adds anything to the Gundam Breaker style. I think thus far it's still inferior to Gundam Breaker 3. They're definitely going to have to, like, add some stuff, and they said they were going to, but again, if this game is, well, basically this, I'm going to just preemptively say there's a good chance that they'll just pull out support for this just because it's probably not going to sell all that well, probably won't be all that well received, because honestly it's just kind of at best average. And I mean, yeah, I'm sure it gets better as you go, but so far I can't say it's been worth the $60. The NT1, the Gundam Alex. We must stop Christina McKenzie before she destroys the Zaku FZ2, piloted by the greatest Zaku pilot ever, Bernie Wiseman. Actually, that's kind of a funny story about that, is I watched War in the Pocket, not quite like War in the Pocket, but there's that one scene where Bernie throws on, like, this faux Australian accent, and I was just sitting there thinking, who the hell plays Bernie? He's awesome, he's got great range, and I went and looked after him, like, that's David Bloody Hayter. What? Like seriously, he's not doing his dumb, generic, Solid Snake, grizzled soldier voice. He actually has talent and range. Seriously, what the hell? Why have we had him for Solid Snake for so long? Let's have him in something else where he's actually, you know, able to use his talents, please. And I guess now we will because, you know, he's been replaced, which, honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm genuinely okay with that. Because let's just be honest, every iteration of Metal Gear 5 was not that great. Also, the Zudas, or Zetas, or whatever it's pronounced. The Zuda, that's it. I was doing a bunch of research on the Zuda recently, actually, because another one of my favorite gyms, and I use the term gym in sarcastic air quotes, because it's not technically, is the Kamoof gym, which is basically a Zaku with gym armor. And I always liked that design, and I always wanted a kit of it. And I did some research, and apparently the general consensus on it is it's apparently just a Zuda with, like, some retrofitted pseudo-gym armor on it. So I guess if I wanted to make a Kamoof kit, I just need a gym and a Zuda. And I have, like, I have one of those gym, Gundam Mafia gyms. This girl is crazy. Also, not a bad color scheme. Not my color scheme, mind you, but not a bad one. Oh, that's another thing Gundam Breaker should do that probably didn't, is it needs to really make its customization more robust. I mean, I want to be able to individually color my arms. Damn it, for my own custom color scheme. And it's weird I say that because I hate asymmetrical design, but my custom color scheme is asymmetrical too, so I don't know. But, oh, that's another thing that would be amazing to put in here, and it would be an absolute bitch to program, but allow us to make kit-bashed parts. Like seriously, just let us take individual aspects of individual parts to make our own custom parts. That would be awesome. Although that said, that would be a complete pain in the ass to try and set up in any real meaningful way. Because you'd have to basically individually program the aspects of each individual armor. You'd have to program the individual appearances, how they would attach. You'd have to somehow create the visual models for that and how they would interact. That'd be a pain in the ass, but oh, that would be so worth it if you could. There is so many things we could do to make Gundam Breaker better, and it just feels like every single one of these... I'm going to make some noise with my mouse, by the way. Every single one of them seems to be overlooked, you know? And I mean, I've said it a bunch of times in this. This isn't horrible, but it just feels really underwhelming, especially considering how good Gundam Breaker 3 was. And even then, Gundam Breaker 3 was more or less kind of inferior to Gundam Breaker 2. So it feels like we're on a slow decline. Now, on the bright side, it's nowhere near as sharp a decline as the Gundam Versus series after Gundam Versus Zeta, because that was one of the best PS2 games turned into a 2-on-2 fighting game. But I'm really genuinely worried that we're going to be going down that path with this. Like the box says, it's got 3-on-3 fighting, and if your box is claiming something, that's one of the main marketing focuses, which means if that's really what you're building into, well, you're slowly getting away from me, the one person who loved your games. I'm just gonna narcissistically say more than anyone else, because I needed something to act as a sanctuary for what you did to Gundam Versus. I always like those Zagok arms. They're pointy. I had an idea to sort of kit bash some Zagok parts with the Gym Sniper K9 pack, because that thing is useless, and turn it into like some kind of like mobile dog, sort of vaguely like the Baku, but less like a Zoid and more mechanical and awesome. Oh, there's a jittery camera. Okay, let's stop locking on so I can go to our magical toy box of storage. That's not the right way. Why am I reading the map completely wrong? I've been having that issue lately. My brother's been playing Warframe with me, and literally every time I play, I completely forget there's even a map in that game. And that's not good, because prior to this, the last time I played Warframe was literally like it's pre-alpha. So there's a lot to that game I don't recognize. So even just missing out on basic things like that sucks. Ow. Also, for what it's worth, Gundam Mark II, great design. Having built one myself, I can say I love the Mark II design. It's a very, very simple design, but it works excellently. And I got that with the Griffios War set, which ironically, I bought that for the Honey Gold Hyaku Shiki, which turned out to be the biggest disappointment of the kit. I kind of went into it really liking the Gundam Mark II already, so that was alright. But the Zeta had some really brilliant design, because oh, I want that Verzago backpack. Yes, please. Not a big fan of the Verzago, but that'll do until I get the Gundam Wing backpack. F91. Okay. Side note: you can make fun of its actual model kit all you like, but Gundam F90 greater than symbol F91. And I will crap dead. I will stand by that, because yeah, you can say it looks kind of derpy with its proportions, but it's a really cool kit. Yeah, we do seem to get Gundam series after they've long been good, which is why, I mean, if you're gonna get a Gundam Versus game, I got the Vespers. I'll equip that. I don't want to discard, I want to equip. But if you want to get a Gundam Versus game, go get the one on the PS2. Or, I've heard the PSP ones are okay, but I can definitely say Gundam Versus Zeta, it's expensive now, but it's good. And it's good because it's literally a skin game for Gacha Force, which was also an excellent game you should probably own if you liked the good versions of Gundam Versus and Gundam Breaker. It's just, It's ridiculously expensive, it's ridiculously rare, but oh, it's oh so worth it. And hey, if you want tips on how to play that, check out my YouTube channel where I've covered literally each one of the 206 playable characters. It took 4 bloody years, but I got it done. And I got it done because I love that game that freaking much. Okay, so the Dendrobium can fly, but I can't. As far as I know, I can jump a bunch. What? Oh, stray red frame parts. Cool, I'm gonna go deposit that. Because I like the Astray Red Frame. It was samurai-tastic. Okay, and the Dendrobium is camping our magical toy box. Fantastic. I'll take those gym legs. Thank you. Whoa. Let's see, Zaku 2. I don't want that part. I will take this part, though. Because I want the Nobel Gundam's beautiful, beautiful hair so I can comb it and make my Gundam look like a pretty princess. And also Alan B. Because Alan B's fantastic. Oh, Victory Gundams. But I don't like your design. Come back when you're the Hexa. I'm going to go try and blow this stupid thing up. Because Ko-Araki needs to be taken down 1,000,001 pegs. Because Ko-Araki, with his hatred for carrots, sucks. I will say, as much as I tend to shit on, what was it, Stardust Memory, you know, watching it again a couple times, it's kind of growing on me. A little bit, anyway. Maybe not much, but I'm liking it more. But I think I like it more mainly because, the Gabera, the design of the Gabera is it's, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. I'm sort of starting to come around to the Gabera's design. I'm kind of, coming around to the Physalis' design, but I will never like the Dendrobium, or the, other version of the Dendrobium, the Stamen. And, the Zephyranthus isn't a bad machine, at its core. It's just its pilot was a massive prat. Rank S, because I'm the super pilot. New ability. Cool. I should actually probably start modifying my Gundam at some point. Ooh, the Vespers. Yes. Do I have to unlock that feature, or is it something that's unlocked from the jump? All I know is I don't have the parts I want to make the awesome Gundam. Because I couldn't bring my own from the previous iteration. And I'm going to keep bitching about that for quite a while. Oh, let's see. 3v3 missions. Locked. Alright, we'll fight your mission. Why not? Oh, seriously, you gotta back out? That's so... That's terrible design. 8th MS Team is fantastic, though. I love 8th MS Team. Shiro's a fantastic character. I've never wanted to get an anime cell before, but there's this one shot of Shiro in the first episode where he's trying to, like, persuade the captain to let him go out in the ball, and he just looks so heroic, and it's like, you know... I wouldn't mind getting that, I'll build a Gunpla, why not? Okay. I wouldn't mind getting an animation cell of that. Hyper Dodds Magnum. Buster Rifle? That's... yeah, okay. It's not the twin, but we'll make that work. Melee weapon. Twin Beam Spear. No, we'll go with standard because I can't go all super pilot up in here yet. Gaffran. That's ugly as hell. No. Mark II doesn't look too bad. Dom. I've never liked the Dom's head. I was actually watching this weird SD Gundam thing earlier, and it was like literally SD Gundam Wacky Racers. And something about that just made me smile. Zaku Gyanza Gok. I could take the gun cannon. I do get those awesome shoulder cannons, but... Gym 2, Gundam Mark 2. I'll go S Gundam. Why not? It's not the Master Grade. I don't have to worry about crushing myself if I try and stand up off a fricking platform designed for me. The arms of the red frame. Ooh, the Blitz. Hey, the Trickeros Kai. I kind of like that. Although, a straight red frame. We'll go Blitz. Really like the Wing Gundam arms, though. Legs, what do we want? Nobel Gundam. Pretty princess legs. Yeah, okay, the Mark IIs, that's not bad. I kind of wish we had the Zetas or the Alex's legs, though. I like, nice, leg-mounted boosters. Okay, backpack, well, that's pretty obvious. We're gonna go with the Vespers. And the shield, we could go with the Mark II on the Titan side. Or the Turn A's. We'll go Turn A. Alright. So you've been built now. Yes. Okay, let's paint this thing. Okay, I remember this screen. This is the screen that screws me over so many times because, like, you can paint all the parts or some of the parts and it all goes bad. So let's just do this right. All parts. There we go. I don't know why this should not confuse me as much as it does. But it always confuses me and I always end up, like, mispainting something. So we're just going to paint everything white in honor of Wolf Taicho for a few moments anyway. And then I'm going to chrome the hell out of it when I'm not recording this because I've got time. Seriously, the last time I did this, I spent 20 minutes of an hour just painting shit. Okay, so... let's do some alternative colors. I think I want that white. I think this is what I want, red. Ooh, yes please. And then what other parts should we paint red? I would know my own color scheme better if I could actually, you know, paint my own mobile suit, but... No, I want the shiny, shiny red. That's not the same one. That's the one I want. Yeah, okay, good enough. Now, to be fair, my color scheme is all white but with a red arm, but still. You know, seeing as I can't paint asymmetrically, thanks game for that. Okay, single mode because I don't have online for multi-mode. Marika. Skip. I don't care about what your backstory is, just let me break the Gundams. Also, I want to try out the Vespers. Loading. Also, I don't like when the animation for loading stops in the loading screen. That's a scary prospect, because that usually means, oh no, all your save data is gone, by the way. Have fun. Okay. So I gotta collect things, because that seems to be the order of the day. Boop. Okay, so the Mirage Colette is part of the special side things, as is the Vesper. Okay. If I recall, Gundam Breaker 3 had a feature where if your weapon featured, like, an extra move, like you had that Gatling shield the Goof custom used in 8th MS Team, you could use that both as a shield and as a separate weapon, but it, like, changed how you had to build your machine or something like that. Oh, I can use the Vespers. I want to do that. I wonder if the F90's in this. That said, the F90 was such a different machine, given how it was designed mainly to be interchangeable, because that was basically where striker packs came from. Except back then they were just alternate equipment you could equip maybe if you wanted. They didn't have a catchy name like striker pack. But, I don't know. Ooh, Mirage Colloid. Yeah. Stylish. I don't know if this is any actual, like, gameplay reason to do that. I'm not sure if enemies stop attacking you or whatever. Pew! Now, see, that's just not accurate, because the Buster Rifle only got 3 shots, quite famously. Also, I wonder if anyone out there has got this and has the Twin Buster Rifle from the Wing Zero. Does the game reintroduce the mechanics of changing your shot type based on your surroundings? Because Gundam Breaker 2, you could do that awesome spinning shot in the air, and you could do the charge shot on the ground. But Gundam Breaker 3 took away that. And that was disappointing, because I really like that feature. Yeah? Vesper! It's a little underwhelming, but still, Vesper. Oh, Beam Naginata. Yes, please. No, no, no. I want your awesome Naginata, please. Okay. Come on, camera. Stop being balls. Where is the target? I'm not seeing the specific target. It normally has like an outline around it, doesn't it? Or did I take it out or something? Alright, well, whatever. Let's end up wasting someone's hundreds and hundreds of dollars because they wasted making a perfect grade when they could have made, like, 20 high grades. Okay, now see, this is where lock-on could be potentially useful. Okay, let's try Mirage Colloid and see if he stops attacking me. It seems like he does. There actually appears to be functional reason to do that. That's kind of cool. Mirage Colloid. Blitz was one of the few seed machines I really liked, too. I liked the Blitz, the Aegis, and that was really it. At least out of the main suits. There was a few other suits I kind of liked. I liked the Segu. I kind of liked the Destiny, but I didn't like Shin. And Shin, by association, made me hate the Destiny. Whereas, ironically, if you watch Build Fighters Try, as terrible as that show is, you know, that at least made the Destiny awesome. I'm just gonna do that, and now suddenly you can't see me. I'm just gonna hack and slash you until you go away. Because I've got the big gun. Oh, I kinda like that feature. I did see one, I saw the head of the G-Cell, and I'm pretty sure the perfect pack is in here as well, so yeah, there's some G-Self in here. But that said, this is literally the first hour I've played, so. And for those of you on YouTube who are completely confused and are just catching this now for some reason, you skipped ahead and missed the intro. I'm doing this instead of Dark Souls this week because we almost got hit by a tornado and my Dark Souls buddy could not show up. So I'm doing this now because I feel I need to put something out on Twitch, slowly build my audience, and hopefully get more love for my YouTube channel, because given recent events, that is now my job, because economics suck. Alrighty. Begin mission. I gotta admit, I don't like the variants thus far, and it's probably just because I'm very early in on the game, but with one exception, we've basically been doing the exact same level over and over and over. And by this point in the whole Gundam Breaker like series of games, by this point you've usually at least seen a couple different areas. Whereas, now that said, it might be my own incompetence for picking the wrong levels or something, but it seems a little weird that we haven't seen too many different areas yet. I mean, at this point you've unlocked the Gunpla Cafe in Gundam Breaker 2, and you've fought that really hard level to get the wing parts because you freaking love the Gundam Wing unit. Because it's the most beautiful mobile suit ever designed. Ground Shaker. Ah, shark kicking. I can do that. I like that. Shark kicking's awesome. I broke 10 containers. Hooray for points. But there definitely needs to be a little bit more variance in the game. And if this doesn't sell half as well as I'm kind of hoping, just by virtue of I want more North American Gundam games, even though all the ones we've had thus far are balls, they might not support that. Also, what appears to be Jim Customs, which, what was that really funny Koaraki line? Completely remarkable in the sense there's nothing remarkable about them. I need to build a Jim Custom at some point. It's a cool design. What are the duels around here? Is it the Assault-Shroud duel, or is it the standard? I've built neither. I've only built the Strike Noir, which, that's a cool design. Although that said, if you're looking to build the Strike Noir, get the Master Grade, because I can tell you, while the High Grade is pretty advanced for its time, it's still not that great for now. Because the shoulders and wrists, they're basically plastic on plastic, which means they run out of posability real quick. I don't want to fight the Force Impulse Gundam, because the Impulse was lame. Yes, I will fight you. I want that. Now I've got the magical part of glowingness, which means I'm the hero or something. Where is that toy box? Hey, parts from the Aegis. I like the Aegis. Rock on, Aegis. Destroy the Ptolemy 2. Okay. I wonder how much of a crossover they've got with Build Divers. I know they had a special edition version of this that came with a clear Build Divers machine. And I know I've got the Dodds rifle from the special, completely blasphemous Age 2. But I wonder how much more there is for Build Divers designs, because they're not the greatest designs, honestly, but they've got some decent designs to them. I like the Jinx Ogre. And I have to respect any show that has a cameo by the greatest 00 character, Patrick Kolasar, in every episode. And I've said it once, I will say it 1,000 times. There needs to be a Patrick Kolasar anime. It would be about him hitting on the Colonel and him blowing up, and it would be a fantastically fun, campy time. Because Patrick Kolasar was awesome. I've also said this a million times, I don't know why Setsuno was the protagonist of that. He was literally the least interesting character in that entire series. Seriously, he could have been a villain and no one would have cared. They could have made his spot Patrick and it would have been awesome. Or they could have replaced his plot with any of the other Gundam Meisters and it would have been genuinely more interesting. I mean, Alleluia. That would have been an interesting, like, main protagonist. Tieria. That would have been a genuinely cool main protagonist. You've got, Lock-on Stratos. Again, fantastic. You could have explored the duality of having to focus on revenge, but at the same time be forced to be the, you know, all-important team leader. It really should have been lock-ons. But if you look at any other Gundam Meister, it would have been a better story if it followed any of them. I'm just personally partial to Alleluia because I think he was the most interesting of them all, with the whole sort of dual personality between him and Hallelujah. But still, literally any of the other Gundam Meisters would have been better characters. Okay. Destroy the Aegis. Someone did that for me. I'm destroying the big thing, though. I don't want to fight all the little small fries. Although that thing has a lot of health and I don't exactly do a lot of damage. And I can't fly. Also, that painting is the cover of the last Gundam Bible that actually mattered. And I know that because I'm trying to get a copy of it, and it's like $40 right now, which it's gone up in price a lot because people realize it's the last Gundam Bible that's worth having. But, you know, this game could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot better, but it could have been a lot worse too. And at the very least, it's not quite as bad as Gundam Breaker. Or Gundam Breaker, Gundam Versus. Dear Lord, that game was terrible. But, you know, by virtue of it being the Gundam Versus after the second one, they were all kind of terrible. Seriously, how do you get a game that was basically Gacha Force with Gundams and turn it into a fighting game? And I get it, Gacha Force was technically a fighting game, but it was a game where you fought a war with a robot. And it was amazing, and it would have lent itself expertly to being... Oh, I wanted to find the golden container. You stole it from me, you jerk! But, you know, you had such an expert concept, and then you just shit all over it. And you're doing the same thing with this, and it just feels like you don't care about your own series. And if that's the case, you might as well just stop producing Gunpla altogether and have Bendy do it. Because I can tell you, as someone who has inadvertently purchased a Bendy brand Gunpla, you know, they don't care either. But at the very least, they're open that they're not the main face of the brand, you know? What was wrong with Versus? Okay, well, I can talk about what was wrong with Versus. There's this little game on the GameCube. It's ridiculously rare and expensive. If you're interested, go look on my YouTube channel to find every video on the internet about it. It was called Gacha Force. The entire concept was you were basically... It was either you or you and one partner, and you were basically fighting a war of up to like 30 versus 30 on like some levels. So it was potentially two people with very small forces up to enemies that were basically up to 60. It was two people against an army, essentially. And Gundam Versus was a reskin of that. Like, they literally took the exact same mechanics and engine and just put a Gundam skin to it, and that was fine. But after Gundam Versus, the second one, which was Gundam Versus Zeta, they turned it into a 2-on-2 fighting game that retained some of the mechanics, but it lost the entire focus of what made it so fantastic. And then it came back about 10 years later, last year, and it was still basically the same thing. Except now it had a greater emphasis on DLC, which that's a whole other can of worms I'll bitch about later, but you took away what made the game so awesome, and instead just focused on what essentially sold well in the arcades, which, to be fair, that was kind of the biggest target audience for Gundam Versus. So from a financial standpoint it makes sense, but from a standpoint from what you had established, it sort of lost all of its charm and allure. And perhaps it's because I'm a fan of the game that preceded it, even though it had virtually nothing to do with it in terms of content, or at least in terms of thematic content. But you know, you took away what made me fall in love with what essentially this series was. And as I said at the start of this, I was really worried this game was basically doing the same thing because they put such an emphasis on 3-on-3 combat. And to be fair, it's a little better than I thought it would be, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel... Oh, I lost. Oh well. But it just feels like you're infinitely... As time reaches infinity, you're getting further and further away from what you started with and what made it work. And at some point, you're going to stop having Gundam Versus, and you're going to have the name Gundam Versus, but something that's completely different. And as a fan of that, you know, that hurts. It's sort of like what I said during my Final Fantasy 13 review that no one will ever see because copyright claims and stuff, but as a complete revelation I had while recording that, because I don't script any of my reviews, it's just completely off the cuff, I realized I can't call myself a Final Fantasy fan anymore. Because there's more out there that have gotten further away from what I love than there are the ones that I love. Because, I mean, quite famously, the last Final Fantasy game I would ever consider to be good was 6. And maybe Tactics Advance, but that's a Tactics Ogre game with a Final Fantasy skin, so I don't count it. But basically, there's a few ways you can eventually, like, expand and evolve your series. You can ultimately make your series the same thing, but evolved on, like, just how it works and the sheer amount and volume of contents, and just refine what you have. And then there's experimenting with what you have and changing things. And, well, I'm all for experimentation. It tells you what works and what doesn't. The problem is when you decide to stick with experimentation, but at least from where I'm sitting, it doesn't work. Or at least it ends up isolating your original fans for new ones. And yeah, sure, you might have a bigger audience at the same time, but are they going to last as long the moment you end up stepping away? And I think that's one of the things I dislike so much about what Gundam Versus has become. It feels like it's trying to be one of those famous online fighting game, almost e-sport type of things. Whereas originally it was, yes, it was an arcade game, but if you actually played like the console releases, it was very much a game designed for single player experiences. And it feels like it doesn't even have a single player component anymore. Like, yeah, they have a component where you can play alone, but it's still basically the multiplayer version of what the game is, but you're just playing it one player. And as someone who's never seen much need for a multiplayer component versus a solid single player component, and I've talked about this a little earlier, you know, if you got a multiplayer component, no matter how bad your game can be, people will enjoy it to a point. But at the same time, you need to have a core, solid gameplay mechanic and, like, single-player experience, or else, you know, the moment you're alone and not playing with people, which, granted, is getting further and further away from what's going to happen simply because of the internet, although now that there's paid subscriptions and stuff, it's coming back a little. The moment you're not playing with friends, there's no reason to play your game. And if your online servers and whatever don't support it after a while, well, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And I think people have already kind of said, you know, Gundam Breaker, Gundam Versus is just not that good. It's certainly not what I fell in love with this series for. And to be fair, I went into there knowing that. And the only reason I bought it in the first place was just so North America could get more Gundam games. And I mean, I guess it worked because this exists, but at the same time, this is not exactly what made me fall in love with Gundam Breaker. Both in terms of the fact that they really don't have a lot of variance in terms of environments, at least thus far and comparatively to previous iterations, but as well as, you know, there's just less of everything and it's missing features. Features that have existed since at least the second iteration, sometimes the first. And that's not good. And the sad thing is we might end up just accepting it simply by virtue of, well, it's what we have. And that kind of scares me a little. Because Gundam fans, I mean, yeah, Gundam fans are kind of in an interesting position because a lot of Gundam is still simply exclusive to Japan. So if you want to be a Gundam fan, you have to really delve into, you know, the Japanese side of it. Whereas a lot of other places that don't have that sort of thing, it's either you accept what you get or you don't. So we have a lot of power. We could just say, well, we want the Japanese version, and we want what's, you know, worked before that you took away. And I've mentioned this a few times, but while they might be willing to upgrade and ultimately, you know, try and fix what they have through patches and through free DLC or whatever, if this doesn't sell well, or they just don't see enough of an audience for it, they won't bother. Because there's no reason to. I'll take that. Oh, crap. Okay, well, I'm going to go deposit this in the toy box. I lost it. Crap. Okay. I don't know, Gundam Versus got weird, especially considering that was the game that, just for a laugh, made the final boss a rock star for some reason. Gundam Versus, I think it's lost its way pretty hard. Ow. Oh, who cares about being the Ale Strike? It wasn't the Strike Noir. It also seems weird that they're limiting the amount of content that we're getting versus the Japanese, who are getting like a full soundtrack version, which is going to have like a licensed soundtrack that's complete, whereas we don't even get that option. It just seems like we're getting less and less, both in terms of where this series is evolving to, but as well as just us as the North American consumer versus the Japanese. Although, in that instance, I think it's entirely a factor of music rights. And music rights having to work in different chunks of the world is a little bit of a tricky proposition, as I understand. But still, yeah, there's official songs, but if you look up the Japanese version, there's like 3 versions of it. One of them is, and they did this with Gundam Versus as well, but they have a version that exists that is just plus like 50 more official songs. And as I understand, we don't even have access to buy that version. And I don't think it's coming as DLC or anything. It's just, you bought it early as a Japanese version, which will probably, over there, have the extra songs. But I don't think this version in North America will. But I know that particular version in general just does not exist for North American audiences. The best we got was the limited print one that came with the clear H2 Magnum, and even then there was only 500 of those. That would make sense. I could see just doing the same mission over and over, sure, but I don't know. Even so, and I'm willing to accept that as me just being dumb and not paying attention to the story or whatever. Even so, comparatively, if you go back to the previous iterations of Gundam Breaker, like the first little story bit, even a few iterations in, you get to play more than like 1 or 2 maps. But that said, I'm clearly not doing terribly well here. Okay, dual Gundam key parts. Where is the duel with the key parts? Where is the glowy? Ow. Exia. Oh, and those... They definitely have to work on the performance of this game, if nothing else, because the random freezing is definitely not ideal, and it's not like I'm playing this online. I am not playing this online. So it's not like I'm waiting for someone else's connection to catch up or anything. Or, much more realistically, probably mine, because my stupid tin can internet, but I don't know, it just feels like you're still getting functionally less from this game compared to previous iterations. It seems like the customization is a lot more simpler, too. But again, I haven't exactly gone too deep into it, but if I recall, you could set up, like, multiple instances of the same abilities and, like, stack them in the previous iteration. I remember having an I field and a GN field to basically nullify any damage. Which, that's fun to run around with, by the way. And you could combine that with, like, Trans Am and Final. Or Final Zero. I don't know why I said Final. Hey, there's a blue glowy guy. I'm gonna kill you. I got your leg. Where's the thing? I do not care much for the getting hit once and dropping part mechanic, though. That seems dumb. There it goes again. There it goes again. Okay, I'm dead. That time, fair enough. But dropping it every time just seems finicky. Alright, where the hell am I? Yeah, I'm never gonna get there. Mission failed. Okay, let's try a different one then. Because if I'm just doing the same mission again, screw that. Oh yeah, I've also heard this game has dating mechanics for reasons. I've yet to see them, but I don't know why you would add anything like that ever. It just seems... Well, it's not better than Versus for what it's worth. I mean, it's fundamentally, marginally better than Versus just by virtue of its Gundam Breaker, which is what Versus used to be, but I don't know. This one's pretty rough. If you want to save your money, just go get Gundam Breaker 2 or 3. You get basically the exact same experience, cheaper. Hell, get Gundam Breaker 2, you don't have to pay online to experience it. But alright, come on. There we go. Yay, space level finally. Okay, that might have been on me. Fair enough. I genuinely do like how big the environments are. I'm not sure if this... I certainly haven't seen it yet, but I'm not sure these levels have like a progression though. Like you clear one area to move to the next, to move to the next, to move to the next to finish the area. And I definitely liked how maze-like they felt when you progressed in earlier Gundam Breaker games, too. But, you know, at least the size of them feels a little bit better. Whereas back then they felt very claustrophobic. So, you know, I'll give this game that much credit. That is a marked improvement. Yeah, if they're just arenas, okay, it's got advantages, but I take that back. So I'm just kind of neutral towards this game so far. Because it feels... honestly like a half-assed attempt, because it's got some of the parts that made the previous iterations better, and then they changed a bunch of stuff that makes it functionally worse. Oh, and there's only like 7 of them? That sucks. Yeah. I do kind of like being able to see the inner frames of the mobile suits. I kind of wish they were more, you know, authentic to the actual inner frames of the Gunpla, having built them, but, you know, it's kind of a neat feature anyway. Oh god. But it just feels lacking, and yeah, I mean, you can fix that with like additional content and patches and whatever to the cows come home, but that's a trend in the gaming industry I'm really worried about, because, you know, there's that old game developer creed that no game is ever released 100% finished, but nowadays it feels like they're actively only releasing half-finished games, and they do so under the explanation, well, you can patch it later. Well, yeah, you can, but you're screwing over your own fan base in doing so. There's no guarantee you'll do it, and ultimately it just feels like you're hurting everyone and making them waste their money on something that's ultimately not very good. I don't know. And to be fair, there's a good reason to patch games, and it's a good thing we can patch games, because, I mean, back in the day, there were games that if they had a problem, they went out and they had that problem. I remember this one game. I don't know if it was Mission Impossible or an Impossible Mission, but it was something like that, and it was very true to its name. Because to get past the game, you had to open a door with a key. And that key was also behind that very door you had to unlock with it. And someone just misprogrammed that. And you just could never finish that game. Because it went out completely unfinished. And if that happened nowadays, well, first of all, there'd be riots in the streets, but, you know, at least people who gave enough of a shit could actually go out and fix it. But the fact that we're relying on that very fact nowadays scares me a lot, because it feels like we're just ultimately not going to have the same quality production anymore, because we don't need to. We can just fix everything in post. I don't know, it just seems kind of really, really sketchy to be relying on something like that for your business. And if that's a trend that continues, it could end up really hurting the entire games industry as a whole. It kind of almost reminds me of how you run into, like, professionals who talk about, like, graphics all the time. Like, they talk about, oh, the graphics of X are great, but 90% of the time they don't actually mean graphics. They're talking about, like, aesthetic. But the thing is, game developers actually understand what the term graphics means, so suddenly they work on, you know, greater polygon counts in all their models because they think that's what people want when they really just want their games to look good. And, well, yeah, sure, one can definitely lead to the other, no questions asked. You know, if you end up having such an impact on what you're actually, like, talking about, whether you know it or not, it's your own ignorance that could end up functionally hurting the, you know, game development in general, because, you know, well, suddenly we're all focusing on graphics, even though that's not what people want. Oh. You guys got really, really tough really quick. Student B! How dare you? Aw. Stop being mean to Nobel Gundam. She did nothing wrong. Well, except for basically constantly pissing off Rain, but to be fair, Rain deserved it. She was kind of obnoxious. And Alan B was awesome. I'm gonna have to go watch Mobile Fighter G after all this. Oh crap, I'm gonna have to do my weekly Pokemon video too. I'm so behind this week. Still, you know, this has been fun, and, you know, for my first, you know, completely solo stream, I was worried about this, but, you know, I think it's been going pretty well. Plus, I get to do one of these first impression videos for my series that I haven't done in a while, at least on an official capacity. So, you know, all the things considered, I think, you know, this has gone pretty well. You know, I'm just having fun just kind of bullshitting my way through this, because honestly, it's not as good as the previous iteration, and it's making itself very, very clear that it's not better than the previous iteration, so just being able to, you know, stream and bullshit this, you know, that's not too bad for me, I don't think. It's making this a hell of a lot more fun. I can definitely assure you of that. Oh no! But we have more points, and that's the important thing. Destroy Rising Gundam. I thought that was the Shining Gundam. I really have to watch some Mobile Fighter G after this. Hidden container. Now you're getting to the explorer and collector in me. I need to find all the secrets. Where's the hidden container, world? Is that it? It's not gold, so it shouldn't be. Is there a manual aim mode in this? I know the other ones did have one where you could like bring up a reticle and manually aim. Outside of just this is kind of clunky. But that seems to be the MO of this game in general too, is it comes across as very, very clunky. Oh no! Oh well. I never liked the Gundam Versago anyway. Oh, come on, game. Work with me here. Yeah, see, no manual aim? That sucks. That basically takes away from actually using ranged weapons without, like, locking onto things. And if you're going into a giant brawl like this, like, lock-on is basically worthless. So that's another feature that's missing from this game. Oh. But I will endure because I'm the super pilot. Ah, camera. Alright, I don't need to search things though. Give me my Vespers. Oh, that looked rough. Oh, come on, Student B. Be nice. Just die so I can break your parts, get some points, and continue on with the story I'm very, very clearly invested in. Oh, hey, the Big Zam. There really need to be more Dozel Zobby. Because Dozel was one of the few zombies that wasn't a complete asshole. He was actually kind of cool. I mean, hell, if you think about it, pretty much the entire reason Zeon lost was just because of infighting and stuff. And honestly, if Makuve wasn't alive or didn't exist in any capacity, Zeon would have probably won. Because Rambaral would have gotten his DOMs, he would have captured the Gundam, as proven in Gearhead and Screed, because I've played that. On the Saturn, legit, yeah. Oh god. I genuinely thought the whole thing froze there, but, you know, if he hadn't screwed with those DOMs, Gundam and White Beast would have been captured, and given that they were basically the linchpin to the Federation's success by the end of it, there's a fair argument that that alone would have gotten Zeon to win the 1-year war. Of course, if that was the case, then pretty much Zeta would have happened completely different. You would have ended up with, like, Camille joining the Titans and becoming best friends with Jared, which, to keep all things cyclical, if you play Gundam vs. Zeta Gundam on the PS2, you can explore that scenario. Yet another reason why Gundam vs. Zeta is amazing. Alright, let's do this then. Let's do another mission. Screw it, I'll go to about 4, and then I really, really have to do another episode of my Pokemon Let's Play, because I have to put one out tomorrow, and I'm so freaking behind on that. I can keep to a schedule like a responsible adult. I really should be able to, seeing as I've lost my job and stuff. And this is now my one source of income. Oh well. I got one more episode after this, I think, and I think I'm done with that, which is kind of scary, because now I gotta come up with a new Let's Play to do after that. Oh hey, we've got snow effects. But we still can't fly or transform, although we're not using a transformable mobile suit. I'm still feeling pretty confident in my assertion it's not here, because why would they make it a thing? That would imply that Bandai and their games department would have had to actually put in effort. And I mean, if you look at their entire Tales studio, it seems like they're not doing much of that now anyway. That said, they could win me back if they made Tales of Ernest Evans. Or just remake Ernest Evans. Come on, Namco Tales team. Wake up the spirit of the wolf team. And let us re-enjoy the amazing Ernest Evans. Alright, we got some guys up here. Let's go fight some guys. Because I feel like I need to actually contribute to my team's points at some point. I want to say that... I'm just looking at the helmets in the corner, but one of them I think is the Burger Gyros, but I'm not super familiar with that particular era. I would argue Ramba Rawl would have too, seeing as he kind of tried to take white base entirely on foot, but yeah, Dozel was pretty awesome about that too. He was a family man. He was one of the few zombies that wasn't a complete asshat. I mean, given the company Cassilia kept and the fact that she ultimately committed fratricide, I wouldn't say she's a decent person. Girahen's a complete asshole. As someone once fairly accurately compared him to Adolf Hitler, and of course, well, you know, for what it's worth, what's his name, Char's friend who ended up getting killed, Garma, he was kind of a decent guy for the most part. Kind of narcissistic maybe, but a decent guy. He really didn't deserve what Char did to him. That said, Cassilia absolutely deserved what Char did to her. Very cool how he took Cassilia out. But, yeah, I don't know. I think there needs to be, like, Gundam anime just focusing on certain side characters like Ramba Rawl. Give Ramba Rawl an anime. He would be fantastic. I mein, he's already more or less in Build Fighters. It's not like you're not willing to use him. Yeah, that's right. It was his father that compared him to Hitler. Jurgen's kind of an asshole. But, yeah. The zombies were just kind of terrible. And I mean, they ultimately ended up killing the original Xeon family. I mean, that's why Char is the way he is. Also, on the subject of Char, I want someone out there to just create a sensible plot that explains how the hell Char went from awesome, you know, Senpai Quattro Vagina to whatever the hell was happening in Char's counterattack. Like, I've even seen games that say explicitly Char would never do that. From Char himself. So there's still no adequate explanation as to how he went insane and just decided to destroy the Earth to save humanity, kind of, sort of, maybe. Also, we need an anime featuring Haman Khan because she was amazing, too. Evil, and had a weird haircut, but amazing. And also the Cubile. Cubile was awesome, too. Okay, that's the thing. The anime has to star Ramba Rawl, Patrick Kolasar, Lock-On Stratos the First, Dozel Zabi, and Garma. It would be the greatest anime ever. With special guest star Haman Khan. And it would explain everything about Char. I like this plot. And it would star the F-90. Just to get a little obscure on people. And some kind of weird blue giant custom gun cannon. Because that would make me happy. And it would somehow disprove Endless Waltz ever existing, because those designs can get thrown into the sun for all I care. With maybe the exception of the Death Scythe hell, but even then, original Death Scythe still looked better. Okay, I'll go find some containers to break. Hey, there's a container. Stop targeting stuff, you stupid, finicky lock-on. Alright, so we gotta go destroy some units, recover some parts. Where's our toy box? It's over here. Gotta admit, I'm digging the soundtrack right now, though. Like, I got my TV on super low so the mic doesn't pick it up too much, but... You know, so far, pretty good soundtrack. Covered 3 parts. There we go, now we got some points. Destroy Break Diaz. I have a feeling that's some kind of weird customized Rick Diaz, but I might be wrong on that front. Okay, so we're getting to yet another reason I refuse to call this next gen, or why I refuse to call this gen, because it's still not in its own, it still hasn't come into its own. It's still very much overly expensive. It's still very much just not functioning properly because we're still just not doing anything right. This is still very much next gen, and as it is next gen, it's very much bleeding edge. Emphasis on the bleeding because it's got way more downsides than it seems to have upsides right now. Of course, in terms of pricing, it doesn't help that I'm in a country whose entire currency is basically valueless at this point because games cost almost a fricking $100. And that's not exactly great. Although that said, it's my fault I'm buying this day one, but... Oh, they moved the toy box, that's right. I really have got to pay attention to that map, and I don't like that. I don't like that I'm paying more attention to a small corner of the screen than the actual screen. There's something about that on a fundamental level that doesn't sit well with my game design sensibilities. Impure Gunpla. Maybe you haven't heard, guy, but Gunpla is freedom, and as long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. Gyan? Who cares? The only Gyan I want to destroy is the one Sasaki used to blow up that beautiful, beautiful wing Gundam in the start of Build Fighters. How dare he? There's a golden container? Ah, come on. Long-range search? That'll be useful. Let's do it. We searched. Oh, actually, that might be useful if you're looking for boxes. I guess, but... That seems like such a small thing. Did you just disappear? What? Okay, so now you've just recovered to full. Awesome. I will destroy the Victory Gundam, and I will do it because it's not the Hexa, the better Victory Gundam. With the beautiful rabbit ears and stuff, because the Hexa was cool. Heck, it was the only reason why I actually bought a Victory Gundam. Let's long-range search for what very little value that might have. I see a silhouette. That means something important's over there. I'll just take that. I don't want to be next to you, because the moment you shoot me, I'm going to drop it because it's a special part. I'm not seeing any other parts to collect, so I don't know how I'm supposed to recover 3 of them. But it's true, Shirako was kind of crazy at the end. Or maybe he caught it by being like, in the remote vicinity of Camille's own insanity by the end of that, with the power of his mighty, not terribly well explained soul computer thing that just arbitrarily made Emma kill herself. There was some writing problems in Zeta. I like Zeta, but I'm willing to admit it had problems. Where's the key part? Where's the Victory Gundam I have to blow up? Oh. We're freezing! Awesome. Okay then. Lots of parts, but still nothing I really want to equip to myself. But I think again, I've been spoiled, or once again, am just bitter that another feature's been taken away, because I could have had my awesome pre-made Gunpla from my previous game in here. And then I wouldn't have to worry about getting Gunpla parts that make me happy. Stop giving me 3-on-3 missions. Give me adventure missions where I'm fighting armies, you know, like every other Gundam Breaker prior. I don't know, I want to like this, because I can see bits of Gundam Breaker in it, and Gundam Breaker is my one, you know, sanctuary that's close to ultimately what was Gundam Versus, and more relevant to me, I guess, Gotcha Force, but there's a lot about this that's just, it feels like it's taking away from what made this series so great, too. That's a big, bear guy-esque ribbon on your back. I can't long-range search. That said, I like it more than the new Gundam Versus. I mean, that's not saying all that much. Oh, there's some action. Let's go find some action. Those are Gym 3s. Using the significantly less cool shoulder missiles that the Stark Jagan also rocked, but they were better because Stark freaking Jagan. Also, anyone out there wanting to build high-grade Gunpla, go get the Stark Jagan. That's a fun kit. It's not great for posing, but it's just a really fun build. It's easily one of my nicest-looking Gunplas. Well, it's because I discovered a few techniques while I was putting it together, but also it's just a really, really well-designed kit. Also, that's the Zeta backpack. That's a nice backpack. Give me your backpack. It would make me happy. Ooh, Beam Naginata. Not too bad. Well, there's your legs. Can I go pick those up? Yes, I think I will. Give me your backpack, though. I really just want that, Oh! No, he's got his legs again. And also he disappeared because we've optimized this game properly. I'm kind of horrified with the fact this came out on PC, or is going to come out on PC. If this is out on PC already, I'm kind of scared about how people are going to react to this. Oh, they kind of sort of did with Gundam Versus. It was, or Gundam Versus 2 anyway. That had the whole 1 Year War plus Zeta, plus a little bit of double Zeta. Even though they legally could not use it, they did not give a shit and put it in there anyway. And you could explore a bunch of what-if scenarios if you played your cards right. But that game was also kind of structured a little weird, because at the start they show you the end of whatever character you're playing as. So like, start off with you be playing as Camille, and the first level is take out Shirako, and then you see like Camille get brain damaged or whatever. And then they kind of just rewind time to get you to exist through those events, and then later you can like go through key points and change it. So like, the easiest one to explain would be if you go through and keep 4 alive during that famous moment. She'll be piloting the Super Gundam, and she'll use her Cyber New type powers to protect Camille. And suddenly he makes it through to double Zeta timeline or whatever. And it's not a fully explored concept to do that, but that one is probably the best one that I'm familiar with, short of the, again, kind of crappy Gundam versus newer games that are basically just 2-on-2 fighting games that, again, take away from everything I loved about my dear Gundam Versus. Just make Gundam Versus good again, damn it. Or make Gotcha Force 2. I complained to Capcom about that. It's like, You know, I just spent the past 4 years of my life covering each one of the 206 characters in this game. Just make a second one so I can do it again. That is what looks like the power gate from the Starbuild Strike. Which is a real pain in the ass to design, by the way, or to build. Because it's all clear plastic, and clear plastic is a pain in the ass to work with. It's entirely possible I'm just have like really terrible tools, which I believe, but clear plastic is basically like glass, and it just... Let's put it this way, I built a pure... Ooh, that one looks like a death scythe. Yes, please. Oh, that's the crappy Endless Waltz one still. But I built a special clear gunpla, and it was okay up until the point where I had to build the backpack to it. It was the Starbuild Strike, so of course 90% of it is the backpack. But the moment I built the backpack, no matter how careful I was, I snapped 2 pieces. And one of them was just a structural part, and one of them was just a thing that hangs off the vents, so it wasn't that big a deal or anything, but it still sucked. The Dynasty Warrior games do have what-if scenarios, but then you're playing the Dynasty Warriors games. And I think that has its own inherent issues. Like, it doesn't feel like you're fighting Gundams. Like, I would argue that specifically this version of Gundam Breaker, is a better version of the Dynasty Warriors games, just because it's action where you're mowing people down, but it still feels like what you're attacking has weight to it. And I complained about this in my review of Gundam vs. Zeta, when I said, you know, if you wanted a North American Gundam game, and this was, of course, before the past 2 years, but if you wanted a North American Gundam game, Gundam Dynasty Wars was basically all you had, and it didn't feel like a Gundam game. It felt like a game where everything you ran through was made of wet newspaper. And that took away from... Oh, it's the hash mill. Okay, I take it back. The hash mill was one of the very few kind of cool IBO designs that wasn't the Grimgeared. But I still don't care how much people like to shove the Barbatos in my face. I still don't think it's cool. But, yeah. Dynasty Warriors games, they're not great because it doesn't feel like what you're piloting and what you're fighting has any weight to it. And I think that's part of the reason why you just gotta play the earlier Gundam Breaker games, or even this one. It's not as good as the earlier ones, but it'll at least give you a certain semblance of proper weight to what you're piloting and what you're fighting. Holy crap, thanks camera. But it's better than Dynasty Warriors. I think those Dynasty Warriors games are... If you like those games, you're just a fan of button mashing, which, you know, to be fair, can be fun, but it's completely mindless. There's not really any strategy to it, and it's honestly not all that fun. That said, if you enjoy it, I don't begrudge you. Dynasty Warriors could be fun, because they have a lot of content if you're into that sort of thing. The problem is you have to be into that sort of thing, and I'm just strictly not. I mean, let me put it this way. I bought Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3 just because of Scott McNeil playing Duo once again. Because I love Duo, he's my favorite Gundam character, and Scott McNeil is a fantastic fellow Canadian voice actor. He's great. And I'm quite a fan of his work. He's voiced pretty much everything from my childhood, including the greatest Transformer of all time, Dinobot. But I did not buy that game expecting it to be a good game. And it's sort of like that Hyrule Warriors, and I think there's even a Warriors game that's going to be set in the Atelier universe for some baffling reason. It's just mindless button mashing. And in the Zelda case, it's basically just button mashing and mindless fan wank. Oh, there's a thing flying in the sky. Okay, I'll use my bow to shoot it at. No, we're gonna get the moon from Majora's Mask to fall on it, because reasons. No, thank you. That said, I have played Hyrule Warriors. I was also disappointed in the sheer lack of remixes of the Link to the Past Dark World theme, which I still say is the best Zelda song. But that's just because it's got a great beat, and it's both a very, very dark song, but it also has just a fantastic pacing to it, I think. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's the Shield Mark II. Mark II's a great design. But, yeah, this isn't dissimilar to the Dynasty Warriors games, which kind of pisses me off to admit because I just don't like those games, but this one is like a better done one that actually feels... Yeah, I agree. The Barbatos design just, it looks not very good, and they wanted to shove a different iteration of Barbatos in front of your face like every other episode. Like, there was, what, 10 Barbatos designs by the end of it? And if you actually look at the mechanics behind it and try and build the Gunpla of it, because I knew someone who really liked the Barbatos, so they bought me a couple, I decided I was going to try and take the parts of all of them to make my favorite, like, ultimate Barbatos. You can't even do that. Because the chests, while basically identical between them, they have different sockets for the arms, and they have different sockets for the shoulders. And even if you get around that, the proper arms don't support themselves based on the chest. It's just... It's weird, because one thing I know a lot of people complain about the Gunpla from IBO is just how similar they are, especially for all the Grazes, of course. Even though they're basically identical, it's not as modular as you'd think it is, and that's weird given the fact that Gunpla is designed to be modular so you can customize it. I mean, hell, that's the whole point of this game, more or less. I don't know, it just seems like everyone wants the Barbatos to be super cool, and it's like the new thing so everyone likes it, but it's just... If you want to shove an IBO suit in front of my face, fine, but make it a good one. Make it, I don't know, I guess maybe the Vidar. Really, the only IBO suit I liked was the Grimgird. But, oh, and then they turned it into that, like, Helmwig Rinkar, which was just... You took such a beautiful design, you made it ugly. You basically endless waltzed the Wing Gundam design again. You took one of the most beautiful things ever and you made it the worst thing ever. I did like the mobile workers, though. I liked how what essentially were tanks were, like, the most mobile things ever. I liked how acrobatic they were. They were neat. But, yeah, I don't know. It feels like IBO really, really didn't want to come up with new designs or whatever. And I think part of that was simply the fact that they were working on the idea that they all use the same internal frame, or like the same types use the same internal frame, but at the same time, it just felt like that was an excuse so they didn't have to put in as much work. I mean, the Flauros, that wasn't too bad of a design, but it's like, what's going on with the Barbatos? It looks completely incomplete. And even when it was complete, it didn't look good. I mean, the Bile, with the exception of maybe that weird giant, like, antler helm on its head, that looked like a better version of the Barbatos than the Barbatos could ever hope to be. And, I mean, the only, like, actual Gundam design I really liked in there was the Vidar, and even then, that got scrapped for that weird Kimaris Vidar combo thingy. So, I don't know. If you want a good IBO design, give me the Grimgird or go home. It's that simple. Just like, if you're going to give me a wing design, don't give me those shitty Endless Waltz designs, because that Wing Zero custom is terrible. I don't care if you like the feathers, they're stupid. But, yeah, there's definitely been some ups and downs to Gundam design, no doubt, no doubt. Hey! Is that the Gundam X? I like the Gundam X. I want to get the master grade of it, but it's always sold out, and it's so cool. Is the moon out? I don't think I have to worry about it, because we're indoors. Actually, I don't think there's been a proper X divider since that weird 1/100th high grade from the 90s. It's sort of like a lot of the old wing kits, although now that there's a proper high grade Leo, that's quickly changing, but it feels like there hasn't been a lot of highlight of the Gundam X designs, which is kind of weird. I mean, you see the X and the double X, and that's about it. And to be fair, I don't even like the double X. I think the original X was good. I think I like the three-eyed grunts from that series, and I'm not normally a big fan of grunts, but I quite like the grunts from Gundam X. The Verzago, I normally just call it the Tarantula Gundam because I can't ever remember its name, but I don't like it particularly well. It looks like a bad knockoff of Epion. The Azutron, that one's kind of neat, I guess, but I like the grunts and the Gundam X from Gundam X mostly. Oh, was there a divider recently? Oh, that's cool. Well, it's good to see Gundam X finally getting more love, I guess, because I know for the longest time, if you wanted an X kit, you had to get those weird 1/100th scale high grades from the 90s, similar with Wing. I think Wing also had 1/60th scale no grade that was the Wing Zero, I believe. And you can still get that for like $20 if you can find someone who stocks it, but... No, 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 no. Let's target my favorite suit, and let's pray I get his backpack. I got his feet. I wanted his backpack, but I got his feet. Good enough. Okay, not really, because if I'm using wing parts, I want the backpack. I want the... Oh, I want that green beam saber. Hey, Zeta Gundam parts. Alright, let's go stash my wing parts, because wing is awesome. I like the Airmaster as well, and that's weird because the wing is quite famously my favorite mobile suit of all time. I don't like transforming mobile suits. Or rather, I don't like that they transform. Like, this is one thing that I've always said about the wing, is if you take away the two things it had going for it, which were its wings and its transformation, you'd still have basically the most beautifully designed, also that's a cool sword, but you'd have basically the most beautifully designed Gundam ever. That was then ruined by Hajime Katoki, but that's neither here nor there. But, you know, transformations feel very, very finicky, both in the sense that when you have a transformation in your suit, both in terms of mechanical design and also in terms of gunpla, that often affords a lot of structural weakness. But at the same time, you know, I'll concede it, it's very cool to see it transform. I think the only one that ever really worked, however, was maybe the Zeta and the Airmaster. But if you look at, like, the Aegis, I don't know what's going on with the Aegis, and the H2 wasn't too bad, but transforming mobile suits they feel more like a fad than anything. Like, if you look at Zeta Gundam, there are so many transformations in that series, and yet, how many of them are actually good? I mean, okay, Zeta, the Humbrambi, maybe, if you like that Stingray sort of look, but the rest were just kind of there because it was, as with the style with the time, really. I guess it was trying to catch up with Robotech Macross, or whatever, but I don't know. I think the Airmaster was pretty good. I don't like the Leopard much, though. Yeah, Zeta kind of... Yeah, I agree. That would be why it got scrapped. But, I don't know. I think there were some good designs, like the Galbaldi. The Galbaldi was good. The Hyaku Shiki was good. I don't recommend you put together the kit, and it might be entirely my own ineptitude, but I can tell you that having built one, it is being held together with a wing and a prayer. But the Mark II was amazing. The Zeta itself was pretty good, and the later developments of the Wave Shooter, which incorporated the Zeta Plus designs, actually really worked in its favor. It's also why it's like the only high grade that exists that you can actually transform. the Marasai. I really like the Marasai design. It looks kind of like the Ifrit, but Mark II, sort of. As generic as it is, I like the Hyzak. Also, this guy has the Stark Jagan backpack. I don't know why I latched onto that. I really like the Stark Jagan. But the Gap Plant was pretty cool. I'm sort of 50-50 on the Gap Plant, though. Like, I like the Gap Plant because I've built the Flag of the Titans Advance of Zeta Gap Plant Hiraru from the Hazel team. That's a ridiculous model kit, and I love that redesign. It can't transform entirely. You have to swap some head parts, but that is a fantastic redesign of the Gap Plant that made me care about the Gap Plant. And if you're going to buy a Gap Plant suit, that one would be the one I'd recommend. The only thing it doesn't get versus the original Gap Plant was the original came with a giant booster. The TR5 Hiraru does not, but it has so much unique in its design that totally makes it worthwhile. The O would make a fantastic battering ram. It's just freaking huge. I will say, if you play Gundam vs. Zeta, you really start to dread the O. Because that thing has like 6 arms and each one has a sword, and it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with you. Oh yeah, other Zeta suit I really like. I really like the Cubile. I really want to get a copy of the Cubile to build myself. I've tried to buy like 2 or 3 Gunplas of it, and every time I buy it, like the seller, I guess, like forgets to send it, or they were like just a fake seller or something. But it's like, oh, that Cubile is such a cool design. I hear the old one is a complete bitch with how many stickers it has, though. Like, the newer one, it's fine, but the old one is just 90% stickers, 10% actual plastic. And that new Princess Cubile SD, I think that's really cute. I haven't made many SDs. I made the Night Gundam, and I've got the, what is it? It's right beside me, too. I should be able to think of what it's called. The one Sekai Kamiki used. That one I want to build. I have one, though. I want to get a Koki Gundam, because that's a cool design, but that one's really old and hard to get a hold of. But, you know, SDs are pretty cool. They're really easy. I've got an SD Stark Jagan as well. I haven't built that one yet, but that one's like 6 pieces. So I could build that in 20 minutes, no probs. But Gunpla, it's fun. Playing a game about Gunpla, it's fun, even though there's better versions of it. Although, to be fair, I got into Gunpla for, like, rehabilitative purposes, because I have really, really bad hands growing up. Oh, Barbatos part's fantastic. Growing up, as embarrassing as it is to admit this, I could not tie my hands, I could not tie my shoes until I was in grade 6. Like, I knew exactly what I needed to do, but I just could not articulate my hands to do it. And then I just decided, you know, I like Gundam. There's these small little model kits that have intricate parts. Alright, let's see if I can help my finger articulation a little. And it did. And it turns out I really like Gunpla, so Gunpla is fun. And it helps if you've got bad finger movements. Give me your Stark Jagan backpack, asshole. No, I don't care if you have a Hygog part. Or 3. Why do you have so many Hygog parts? Give me that head of yours. That's a cool head. Nope. He did not want to give me the Stark parts. And that makes me sad because I like the Stark. It's cool and it has badass missiles, and it was the best part of Gundam Unicorn. Which is great, because it's in like the first 10 minutes, and then you don't have to watch the rest of Gundam Unicorn with its really wishy-washy protagonist, and its awkward CGI, because Gundam should never have CGI. Have you ever watched MS Igloo? Because trust me, MS Igloo will not acknowledge it, but it's the perfect example of why you should never have CGI in Gundam. It's just bad. the slowdown. Quit it. Get better optimized, game. Stop playing suboptimally. Mobile worker. I think there's only like 15 or so new mobile suits in this game compared to the last one as well. Like in terms of differences compared to previous iterations is what I've heard. On top of having less in general. Oh look, it's the Barbatos. I don't give a shit. Give me better IBO. Also, your arms cannot be supported by your frame. I know that because I tried to build it. Piece of crap. But Gundam, it's very, very, very good. Even when it's not being very, very, very good. Oh, come on. Because I think that's the thing about Gunpla. No matter how bad or good the kit is, they're all unexperienced. Like, if you look at the old F90 kit, which I'm in the process of building right now, it's not great, but it's a unique experience, as is every Gunpla. I mean, I've never seen a Gunpla that has multiple colors on the exact same parts before, but the F90 did it. The F90 was the inspiration for striker packs. And it, okay, we gotta destroy that because I love that machine. Where are you, Ifrit? Because I need to blow you up and take your awesome parts. I want Ifrit custom. It's kind of a pain that the only official Ifrit custom you could get was the Reborn 1100. You had to get like P Bandai for the high grade. That sucks. Yeah, I think the only thing Reconquista actually had going for it though was its animation, because it was very, very pretty. It was drawn by the same person who did Eureka 7, but that story was nonsensical. Like, it wasn't even necessarily the fact that they had... Yes, I got E3 custom parts. It wasn't even the fact that they crammed in too much story in too small a period of time, so much as it just didn't seem to know what it was doing with itself. I mean, you want to see an example of a series cramming too much into too little space. Look at F91. No, I destroyed an E3 custom. I've got parts. I don't care if I lose. I want to recover these E3 parts. Damn it. How do I get back to that cave? I can't jump up there. Damn it. But G-Reco was rough for a lot of reasons. F91 was rough for the exact reason that they tried to cram, I think it was supposed to be like 100 episodes into a 2-hour movie, and it just jumped around way too much. But I can tell you, F91 is one you don't need to watch. It's not that great. There's some great OVAs, F91 ain't one of them. Go watch, I just finished watching it, go watch Memories of Eden. It makes Gundam age good because it focuses on the best part. That said, they could have added a lot more to it. Easy, 8 parts. Well, that's because, you know, they had a very complex character with Asimu. Oh, we're done. But, yeah, go watch Gundam Age. Anyway, it's 4 AM. I still have to do a freaking Let's Play for Pokemon that I have to make on my YouTube channel tomorrow. So if you want to see more of this, I guess let me know. Follow my YouTube channel. Follow my this if you want to see more of this, I guess. Because I'm honestly not that motivated to do much more of this. I've heard the Crossbone mangas are quite good. I want to build a Crossbone myself. But, anyway, it's 4 AM. I still have to go play Pokemon for my YouTube channel. Go subscribe there. Go subscribe here. I've got a Patreon on my YouTube. You can find a link to that. And if you want more from me, let me know. Anyway, that will be at least enough for tonight. Until next time, peace out, Internet.